Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Nat for TLC Designs Shop. We're going to have a little play with the Celebrate border die today. I've die cut it out of just some white cardstock. We're going to have a little bit of this paper that is from the Jack and Gnome bundle. It's actually a freebie. And I felt like my little cupcakes needed a little bit of finger quotation chocolate behind them. We're going to use the clouds out of the Aztec Sunshine circle die, and we're going to use a candle out of the cherry on top. I'm also going to actually use the circles out of the Aztec Sunshine circle die. So I've cut a little circle out of a card panel. We're going to do a little bit of surgery on this. I'm just sort of making sure before I cut it that it's all even and nice and straight. So basically we've got two panels or two elements that we can use for two different cards. So I've got a little bit of multi-matte medium here just to stick my brown paper behind it. As I said, he's from the bundle. He's a freebie, so the Jack and Gnome stamp set over just under promotions in the shop, and you'll be able to get this paper, and there's another paper, and of course the stamp sets that go with the Jack and Gnome, and he was really cute. You recently used him out of for a hop. So there's our little candles. I'm going to color, obviously the top is going to be yellow. The colors that I'm going to be using are, I go back in with another slightly darker color in a minute. It's Y23 and 26. There was just not as much definition in the very middle bit there. That was just the Y21 again. Just to try and soften it and blend it out. So I've got, these colors are going to be intermingled through the whole series. You can't quite see it there, but what I do have is BV01, BV00 and BV000. The blues the same, basically the same thing. We've got B01, B00 and B000. Here I've just basically used the straight B01, BV01 and there's an RV02. This is where we've got the combinations. So I looked at this and I thought this could be like a little bit of fairy floss. Or candy, what do you call it in America? Candy cane? No, that's candy cane. Candy canes. Bit of fairy floss. So I've done little semi-C's with BV01, going back through just over the top with BV00, and then the whole lot with BV000. Now I forgot to press the record button, but I am going to make some more. So you should be able to see those, hopefully. What I've done here is dry embossed with my die. All the die cutting machines have, all the manual die cutting machines like your Big Shot, your Cutterbugs and things like that all have this option. You get a rubber mat and you just double check which sort of what your sandwich unit needs to be. So with my Big Shot I have the embossing folder mat, the plate, and have my two the Cutterbugs will say B, the two acrylic plates, and then a rubber mat. The rubber mat just goes underneath it just to give a little bit of give. So you just run that through and then you have the dry embossing. So it's another way to use your dies, something a little bit different. I wanted a little bit of color behind him. It sort of ends up in the whole card, it ends up to be the one, looking like the one color. So I'd probably change that slightly next time. I'd probably put less of the frayed burlap, which is a darker one, and we have antique linen. Now I am reusing some cardstock, which is why there's a dark line. My printers decided to go weird, but it's all good. It works out. This little person is not going to be wasting her cardstock. She may use possibly a little bit too much foam tape, but cardstock she's not using. So what I've done here is I've got this big mound of foam tape. I think in America you have 3M. Over here in Australia we don't. What I'm going to do is take all the backing off it, which makes it a little bit more pliable to go around the edges, like voila. So here I'm just sort of doing a little well that we're making a little shaky card. So we're making a little well for all our little bits and pieces to go into. It isn't going to be terribly, this foam tape is not terribly tall in width. So you need to be a little bit careful of not putting too much of little shaker goodies in there. Got a little anti-static pad just to go around the inside edge, just to make sure, try and help with a little bit of stick. This is just out of my little stash. Literally they're like little flowers, but they're sort of goldy, and as you can see they're a little bit incandescent. We're going to put him down, and there's our little shaker. So you literally saw me pretty much color one of these, but I think because it's here is just a little bit NQR, which is Australian slang talk for not quite right. So I'm actually going to still have my uneven amount of clouds, but they're going to be a little bit more even. So we're doing a little bit of die cut surgery and just trimming these down, and we're just tucking it in behind. So at the moment I don't really have any glue or anything on those, but I'm just going to sort of eyeball where I want it. Now, don't do this. Well, firstly, we're going to glue all these down with a little bit of multi-matte medium. But at this point, I'm sort of going, you need a sentiment down the bottom. And you've already foam mounted it. This is, honestly, this is something that I do all the time. And one day we will learn to stamp our bits and pieces beforehand. So I wanted birthday, but there was no happy. It was all, obviously this is the Ease Salutations, which is an awesome stamp set because you've got lots of little bits and pieces here. So we're going to do It's a Party. Now, as you can see, they're super, super sticky. At this point, I'm just sort of trying to get a bit of a rough idea of what I wanted. And we're going to put it pretty much in a straight line. And I'm going to do it because it can be a little bit hard to do a straight line for 3 stamps. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're just, I'm going to do what we can. So what I end up doing is just I'm going to spend a little bit of time with the grid lines on my Misty, and just to make sure it's even. Okay. So we're going to stamp that down with some Versamark, and I've just got some gold embossing powder. Take away my matte because it's already raised up. And I'm so lucky because this is working beautifully. The gold embossing powder is just some from my stash. And we've just got a little bit of residue. So we've got a dry brush just to wipe that off. Now I have heated it because I wanted to get the A relatively close together. And we're just trying to make sure that the lines all, just trying to get it as straight as we can. Clean that up. And now we've got it all heated. So I was going to put it underneath it, but I decided to go just straight across. So once again, some first mark, and we're going to gold emboss it, and that is going to be our sentiment. And yeah, as I said, make sure you do this before you foam mount. I get a little bit carried away because you're making a shaker, and there's a very cool little element to making shaker cards. And so yeah, I quite often forget. So this is where we're going to come in and adhere all our clouds. So the middle one is going to be flat. And again, I'm using just a little bit of glue just to put him down. The other two are going to be raised up. But you'll see what I will do is remove the little one, which I think is a blue, and then add my other cards in, my other clouds. No, they're not clouds. On this card, they are fairy floss. So we're just adding him down. Now, I feel the need to explain this. You may be looking at this and going, why is her mat upside down? Well, that is because I'm Australian and we mostly deal with centimeters. So you can see along the top there and down the right hand side, it's all inches. You can see on the left hand side, we've got centimeters. And there's inches as well, but centimeters. So I've rotated my mat around, and so no, I didn't color those on screen either. Sorry. But you saw a little bit of the coloring before. So I had the darker color, the BV01 or the RV02 or the BV01, and just did semi-little circles. Went over that again with the BV00, and then over the whole lot, and also around the edge in the BV01 or whatever the darker one was. And then what we've done is just over the whole lot in the lightest color. Just trying to figure out my placements, making sure that I don't have two of the same sitting on top of each other. So that's a little fairy floss. So yeah, every time I look at my mat when it's zoomed out, I think everyone thinks it's upside down. That's it. Take care. See you next time. Bye.